When the Bahamians first came to Coconut Grove for work, at the time Miami was known as a young magic city where money could be shaken from trees. Home returning pilgrims told exaggerated tales of their fame and fortune in the Promised Land. Such an ideal stemmed from the difficult circumstances in the Bahamas where jobs were hard to come by and Bahamians earned meager wages. Through all the hardships that came with immigrating to a new country, the Bahamian settlers were particularly adept at maintaining their culture, which was an integral part of their identity. They worked the difficult, rocky land, planting vegetables and tropical fruits in coral-pocked flatlands and building simple, cool dwellings on the mangrove shores. Their identity included the familiar foods such as sabadillas and pineapples, which they knew how to grow in the difficult South Florida terrain because it resembled that of the Bahama Islands. The introduction of Bahamian produce was one way that Bahamians taught white settlers to farm in South Florida. As more immigrants arrived from the Bahamas, a larger settlement was needed for this growing population in the Coconut Grove area, and the Joseph Frost homestead was the most logical location as it was near the Peacock Inn and the homes of the white settlers for whom the majority of the Bahamian settlers worked. Author Corita Swanson Vonk wrote that the white folks lived on Main Highway and the colored lived on Charles Avenue behind the Grove Playhouse, where the E.W.F. Stirrup House still stands today. Later, these places were named Colortown and Whitetown. Today, the colored section of Coconut Grove, set aside for Bahamian settlers on Charles Avenue, is now known as West Coconut Grove, whereas the section on the other side of Main Highway is known as East Coconut Grove. Both areas of the Grove have always personified a dichotomy which continues to this day. The dichotomy that persists is one of prosperity versus poverty, progress versus stagnation, and a preserved community versus one that struggles to preserve its identity. Evangelist Street was the name given to the road cleared to build homes for the Bahamian workers, but it has since changed to Charles Avenue. This single street became the center of business for Bahamian settlers in Coconut Grove by the early 1900s. As the population grew, so did the number of businesses. Some of the earliest businesses opened up inside the homes of the owners. Ebenezer Woodbury Franklin Stirrup Sr. became one of the most successful black businessmen in Coconut Grove. Stirrup owned a grocery store, bicycle repair shop, tailor shop, meat market, and dry goods store. Not only was Stirrup a successful businessman, he was also responsible for building many of the first homes on Evangelist Street, including his own. Upon Stirrup's arrival from the Bahamas to South Florida in 1888, he found work as a carpenter's apprentice in Key West, where many Bahamians arrived first before landing north to Biscayne Bay. Not only did Stirrup learn to become a carpenter, he also later worked as a pineapple field in South Dade. Through his years of hard work and business savvy, Stirrup eventually became a millionaire, owning a variety of properties in Coconut Grove and taking advantage of his past experiences. He used his carpentry skills to build his own home in Coconut Grove as well. Stirrup built his house from local Dade County pine, which has since become a relic, and by all accounts, Stirrup created an impressive yet understated residence for his family. Mr. Stirrup lived in the house until his death in 1957, a total of 58 years. Even with seemingly rapid growth, Coconut Grove is often remembered by historians as being unique because of the relationship between whites and blacks was vastly different from other portions of the country. They were able to coexist in a time where such a relationship it was unknown. And we continue to see the growth in Coconut Grove and the difference in the way that the cultures mix from Haiti to Bahamian and to most recently, mostly, a lot of Cubans. Today we see the growth and we continue to see how E.W.F. Stirrup has had a huge impact on the development of Coconut Grove on both sides of Charles Avenue and both sides of Grand Avenue. And we hope that in the new development that happens on those roads, that we'll continue to see his house and his legacy continue to grow and to be remembered.